You are welcome once again, viewers. I welcome you to Writing Theatre channel. Today I want us to examine how to write and make a good speech. Many people are challenged by the fact that they don't know how to prepare their speeches. They are bothered when they are asked to make a speech. They are worried because they don't know how to go about it. Now we are going to be examining how to make a very good speech, how to write a good speech, and then how to make the good speech. Remember, speech is primarily oral. It is primarily verbal, which means that the written form of every speech is secondary. Human language generally is primarily verbal. We speak because speech is the expression of our thoughts. It is the vocalized form. Speech is the vocalized form of human communication. Now, as a matter of fact, we have different types of speech. 3 different types of speech. We have the impromptu speech. We have the extemporaneous speech. And of course, we have the written speech. The one we are going to be considering fully as regards how to write is the written speech, that is the prepared speech. However, I need to speak briefly on the 2 other types of speech that we have before we now go into writing the prepared speech. What is impromptu speech? An impromptu speech is the speech you give without preparation. Maybe you get somewhere and without notice, you were just asked to come and make a speech. That is impromptu, which means that you didn't prepare for it. You didn't plan for it. And nobody told you before that you were going to make a speech. But here you are with the reality of making a speech without preparation. Now, what are those things that you need to know? Now, I am speaking on this one because it is where many people have some kind of challenge. And so we need to discuss it briefly before I now go into the writing aspect of the prepared speech. So, your impromptu speech. So, how do you make an impromptu speech? Well, the first thing that you need to realize is that every impromptu speech is brief. But now, how do you make it? You are given a topic now, without knowledge, without prior knowledge. The very first thing that you need to do is to think through the topic. Oh, this is the topic I've been given to speak on. What is this topic saying? Meanwhile, everything has to be in a flash. Very fast. You must think very fast. So you think through the topic. What is this topic saying? And then also you can even repeat the topic. You can get there, okay, and face the audience and you repeat the topic before them. Oh, I've been asked to speak on so. As you are telling them, you are thinking also. You are thinking also. And then number 3 thing that you need to do is maybe you now apply the journalistic approach, or the 5 W's and H. Okay, what is this topic saying? What is the who there? That is, who is there? What is the what? What is the where? What is the why? Where is the when? And then, what is the how there? If you can answer these 5 W's and H beautifully, you must have made a very good impromptu speech. Now, let me say this one. When you are given an impromptu speech to make, no one expects you to make an award-winning speech because you were not told before, you didn't prepare for it. So you just say whatever that you know you can say, and then you go back to your seat. Nobody will kill you for saying the little you know. And then if you can manage to remember a philosophical statement to end your speech, oh, it would have been very lovely, very beautiful. But if you can't, no problem. But whatever it is that you have to say, make it very brief. And then you go back to your seat. Now finally, in case you don't have anything, you don't know anything at all about the topic you have been given, nobody is going to abuse you for declining the topic. You can say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have anything to say about this one. This one is beyond my ken. But it's advisable that no matter how difficult it is, because the people that called you believe that you could say one or two things about the topic you have been given. So when you are given a topic to speak on, try as much as possible to say something. Don't decline. That's a candid advice. That is how far an impromptu speech goes. Now, the second aspect, the second type of speech that we have is called extemporaneous speech. Now, what is extemporaneous speech? An extemporaneous speech is slightly different from the impromptu speech that we just spoke about. An extemporaneous speech is the speech that you are obliged to prepare for. But at the point of delivery, you don't carry any manuscript, you don't carry anything. So you speak offhand. That is extemporaneous speech. So you are allowed to prepare. You can prepare. You have the luxury. You have the mandate. You have the freedom to prepare because you must have been given the speech ahead of time. But the point of delivery is where you are not allowed, where you are not expected to carry anything. You just speak offhand. So this one will now tap your recall, your power of recall. How well can you recall what you studied as far as that speech is concerned? You know, since you have been asked to prepare for the speech, you have been allowed to prepare for the speech, you are ready, you are free to make your research, you know, here and there. You can read books, you can read journals, you can even ask people questions. Okay? Only that those people are not going to follow you, you know, to where you are eventually going to make the speech. But you must have prepared very well. Now, how do you make a speech offhand? The first thing that you need to do is to look for a key word in the topic you have been given. And then you make sure that everything that you are saying revolves around that key word. That is very important. Locate the key word in the topic you have been given. And then work around that key word. Because the key word, as a matter of fact, will help you form your thesis. Thesis is the central idea of the topic you have been given, of the topic. Okay? And then make sure you read down that keyword. Read down. And again, when you are now making the speech, of course, you need to create familiarity between yourself and your audience, because people are listening to you. So you need to make eye contact. And then you also need to avoid magnetism. People will respect you because they know that this speech you are making, you are just speaking over. So the level of the respect you be accorded when you are making such a speech will depend on how far you can go, you know, in remembering those things that you read about the topic. Oh, you see politicians when they mount the podium and speak, they don't carry video tablets or laptop or scripts or manuscripts. Whenever they are speaking to you, they talk to you naturally. But don't ever think that what they are telling you, what they are saying to you, they didn't prepare. They prepared. They might have spent nights upon nights preparing. as to how to face you and, make their speech before you. So you prepare. But your preparation now, the level of your preparation is now made manifest by the reason of your competence, of your eloquence, of your logical presentation of your facts when you are making the speech. That is very important. Now, the next one that we are going to talk about, which is even our area of concentration fully here, is the prepared speech. The prepared speech. The prepared speech is the formal speech. It's a formal speech. It is the speech that you make well prepared for. So it has a manuscript. It is written. And then, of course, there are many ways. I have about 7-8 steps that I need to make you realize when you want to write a prepared speech. Remember, I said it before, that every speech is meant primarily to be oral, verbal. But because you are about reading this one, you must put it down. So what are those things that you need to know when you are writing your speech, a very good speech, for people to follow you? Also remember that the speech you make naturally is better in quotes than the one you read. So there are some things that you need to consider to make people follow you, to make people, follow you when you are reading a prepared speech. So what are those things? I have 7 steps here. Okay? So let's look at them one by one. The written speech. Now, I have 7 steps. Number 1 step is, what do you want to say? What exactly are you looking at here? You must know what you want to say, when you are writing a speech. You must be familiar with your topic. So you must have done your homework very well if you want to make a very impressive speech. Remember, every speech, the success of every speech is measured by the level of the audience's appreciation of the speech you have made. Which means that if you have made a speech, and then at the end of the speech, people are now asking, oh, what did that man even say? What was his major concern? It means that speech has failed, because he should know, since he was part of the audience. Everyone listening to you must be able to take something home after you have made your speech. So, number 1 thing to consider is your level of knowledge of the topic. And don't also forget that when we talk about knowledge, it brings about confidence. Knowledge prepares confidence. And knowledge doesn't jump on people. Knowledge is a function of preparation. When you prepare, when you are fully prepared for something, and then knowledge has now come upon you, you are confident. And then you say, oh, wherever it is, I am here. Because the knowledge is there. But if you are not fully prepared, you will even be nervous. So for you to avoid nervousness when you are making a speech, you must prepare. That is number 1. Be familiar. When you are familiar with your topic, it will erase all the relevances. So which means that you won't be moving from pillar to post, you won't be running here and there. You are focused because you know your topic. That is the number 1 step that you need to take. Now, number 2 step is that you should not distract from the objective of your speech. Every speech has 3 broad areas. It's either your speech is informing, or it is entertaining, or it is influencing. Every speech must have its bearing in one of these 3. It's either a speech is entertaining, or is influencing people, or is informing people. So your speech must find its own level in one of those three areas. Now, when you have identified the purpose of your speech, you also need to consider the occasion of your speech, the time of your speech, and the audience of your speech. Now, what do we mean by occasion? Every speech has an occasion where it functions. Not all locations will be suitable for a particular speech. For example, the speech you make when an institution is having its Founders' Day ceremony is different from the speech you make when someone is presenting a book publicly. Okay? So the speeches are different because the occasions are different. So occasions will determine the kind of speech you make. Number two is time. When you are given a topic to make, a speech to make, you need to ask the people asking you to come and make the speech, how much time am I allowed? How much of time? Is it, am I speaking for 30 minutes? For 1 hour? For 1.5 hours? For 2 hours? The time you are given will determine how you prepare your speech. You can't prepare a speech that is supposed to be for 10 minutes for 25 minutes. No, your speech should match the time allotted for the speech. It is important. It is important. So when you are writing, you write with the understanding or the number of minutes you have been given or hours you have been given. It is critical. It is crucial. And number three is your audience. So you need to do audience analysis. Audience analysis. Okay, these people that I have to speak to, what is their age range, educational background, occupation, social status, culture, political affiliation. You need to know all this. For example, if you are asked to make a speech before politicians and you happen to belong to a particular political party, if it is only your members that form your audience, it is clear, you can say anything. But if you are speaking before an audience, a conglomerate, if you like, an audience comprising members of different political parties, your attention cannot be focused only on your own political party. You will lose your audience there. As a matter of fact, you need to be neutral. You just speak neutrally. You speak generally. Because if you speak in favor of your party or a political party, others will raise eyebrows. So you need to know your audience. You need to know even the interest of your audience. How interested are the people that will listen to you about this topic? Let me give an example where you also need to know your audience. There was a time I was invited to speak before an audience on crisis management. Information management during crisis, during national crisis. Information management during national crisis. It was at the time Nigeria was facing some kind of crisis. And then this organizer just came to my office and said he would like me to speak on information management during national crisis. I didn't ask him who my audience will be. I didn't ask him. Now, to cut a long story short, I go to the hotel on the appointed day. I entered one of the seminar rooms. I met some people. I just believe, nobody told me. I just believed that no, there is no way this people would be my audience. So I moved out. I now went to another place where another meeting was holding. I felt that, okay, this should be the place. This should be the people. So I sat there. But the time began to count. Time began to count. Until not knowing that the man that came to my office to invite me had been looking for me. To cut a long story short, when we now eventually met, he asked me, I've been looking for you. My people, we have been looking for you. I said, but this is the place. He said, no, this is not the place. Now he took me to where I should be. It might interest you to know that my audience were made of soldiers, drawn from the middle barracks across the country, all of them in uniform. As a matter of fact, their leader was a brigadier general at that time, and there were many, all in uniform. I was shocked. Well, thank God I was able to make my speech, and it went smoothly. But this thing is this: if I had known who my audience would be, maybe my preparation would have been better, maybe psychologically, because I never knew, I never expected. I've been making speeches, I've been invited on many occasions, but that was the first time I would face people in uniform, full uniform, without a prior knowledge. So you need to know who your audience will be. Otherwise, if you are not careful, if you don't know them, more so if you get to a particular point and then they are a bit unfriendly, you lose balance. You'll be thrown off balance. So you need to know your audience. All these things will come to bear, will come into play when you are preparing your speech, when you are writing your speech. Now, number 4 step that we need to consider when we are writing a speech is the arrangement into parts, the speech. Every speech has 3 parts: the introduction, the body, and then of course the conclusion. The body is where you have the content, all right, and then the conclusion. But part of the introduction is the title. How do you phrase your title? You must write your title in a simple, clear language. Your title must stir up curiosity in your would-be audience. Your title must be simple to follow, and it must be very clear. Your title must attract attention. You don't speak big English, big grammar when you are writing your title. Nobody will read you. Don't forget that speech is for the ears, not essentially for the eyes, for the ears. So it is what people hear that they reckon with. They are not going to be reading when you are making your speech. So you need to see how simple your title is, how attractive that title is, how well it has stirred up curiosity in your potential listeners. These are things that you need to consider when you are writing a title to your topic. Now, how do you introduce your speech? Remember, I said that title is part of the introduction. How now do you introduce a speech? There are various ways. There is no particular way to introduce a speech. But remember, every way you try to use to introduce a speech is just to help that speech. It is to enhance the speech. It is to make people enjoy the speech. Anything that you will derive information from, that you will derive full benefit from, you must first enjoy it. Everything, even what fetches you money, you must enjoy doing it first. before money can flow into it. If you have an idea, you must put that idea into shape, and then you enjoy when you are now executing the idea. When you are doing that, you are enjoying it. Then money will flow into it. So everything that we bring about something beautiful must first and foremost be enjoyed. So if you want people to take something home from your speech, you must make them enjoy the speech. So how do you introduce your speech? You can introduce your speech by making a philosophical statement. Make a philosophical statement. You can introduce your speech by asking a question. Oh, you can ask a question. The only thing is that whatever question you ask, you are not preparing an exam for your audience. Every question you ask, you must answer also. You yourself must answer the question. At a later part of your speech. You can make you can define the topic. Oh yes, you can define the topic. You can highlight the main points of the topic. You can describe the keywords in the topic. So there are many ways to start your speech. But whatever way you use, the most important thing is that it must be relevant to the topic you are discussing. It must not be isolated from the topic you are handling. If you ask a question, the question must be relevant to the topic. If you make a philosophical statement, it must be relevant to the topic. If you ask a rhetorical question, it must be relevant to the topic. Now let's look at step 6, which is the body of the speech. The body is where the ideas are fully developed. So you need to divide the speech, your material, into time units. Okay, you can't just be talking and talking and talking. People will be bored. People will be tired. They won't enjoy it anymore. So what you need to do is that at this point, you need to mark your script. Where you need to stop at times and then look up, because when you are giving a speech, you must create familiarity, with your audience. So you need to maintain what we call eye contact. So there are points, in your speech, written speech, where you say, okay, I will pause here to face the crowd, to face my audience, and then explain certain things. Because at times you need to, to pause for a while, and then you explain certain points, and then you continue. So you also need to weigh the psychological what do I say now? To consider the psychology of your audience. What are they thinking about? What do they want to hear? How do I put this thing to them for them to appreciate it? Because at times your audience might not be well disposed to your topic. So you need to encourage them. You need to make them follow you. You need to make them appreciate what you are saying. Speech, I told you, speech is all about either information or entertainment or influence. Maybe you want to influence. So every speech, just as I mentioned earlier, every speech is one of the three. One of the three. So the body of your speech is where you must pay full attention as regards how you want it to get to your audience. So in that case, you need to be using transitional devices. You use your connections. We mentioned this type earlier. You use your connections, your however, nevertheless, as a matter of fact, in addition, but you have to watch when you use them. because it is uncalled for you not to have even started. I mean, you have not said anything at all, and you are now saying in addition. so you need to weigh the words you choose per time. And then, of course, this one goes for all the speeches, whether impromptu or extemporaneous or written speech, the one we are considering now. Also, when you are reading your speech, ensure that you avoid mannerism. You see, you avoid all such, because they distract from the main thing that you are saying. As a matter of fact, you may even be labeled one of such. I mean, you don't be surprised that if you are accustomed to using at the end of your speech, people might likely be calling you Some people will just be saying, "Oh, that's Mr. So you watch mannerisms. You avoid mannerisms. So what you do is that every speech you present at the body must be logical. In all spheres must be logical. Again, the next step is the conclusion of your speech. The conclusion must not deviate from both the introduction and the body. The conclusion must not be saying something new. The conclusion must not be asking a new question. The conclusion must be the conclusion, the final part of your speech. So don't raise a fresh controversy with your conclusion. So you can also conclude with a quotation, with a philosophical statement. You can recap the main points in the speech. You can recapitulate. That's what I mean. You can offer advice. You can offer suggestion. But your conclusion must be conclusion. And then don't forget that your conclusion is the third part of your essay. The introduction leads to the body. The body now leads to conclusion. There is none of the three parts that operates in isolation. None is an island. It's a symbiotic relationship that they have. So one depends on another, and on like that. So in the end, they must come together to make a compact whole, to make one whole. That is when you would have said that you have made a meaningful speech. A meaningful speech. I said it before, that if you make a speech and people are asking at the end of everything, "Oh, what did that man say? What did that woman say?" Then it means that your speech failed. People must be able to take something home from all that we have discussed in your speech. Now, the last part is the language of your speech. How do you write your speech? How do you write? You don't blow grammar in speech making or in speech writing, because people are listening. People are not carrying along dictionaries here and there, so they listen to you. So you use simple English, and then don't use complex sentences. Break your sentences into smaller units, simple sentences. What I mean by complex sentence is when you have one independent clause and maybe one or more dependent clauses. Okay? You are joining and joining and joining and joining. Don't join clauses. Just make your sentences as simple and as free, as straight as ever. Those are the things that people are listening to and they can identify with. So make your sentences short and simple. You can use parallel structures. Parallel structures are just like when you are singing a song. Okay? Then in that case, you are forming sentences that are of equidistance. The same length, more or less even the same words. But the meanings are slightly different from one another. But in the end, you have something like a song. You can use repetition. You can use proverbs. You can use idioms. You can use figures of speech. The writing of your speech is as important as the content. That is, the presentation of your speech is as important. It has always been said, I've always said it, that what you say is important, But how you say what you say is even important, if not more important than what you say, because how you say it will determine the meaning read to what you have said. So when you are writing a speech, ensure that it is properly written, well written, written to suit the psychological needs of your audience, to suit the needs of your audience, to satisfy your audience. You are not speaking for yourself. You are not speaking to yourself. You are speaking to people. You are speaking to make people see the beauty in what you are saying. And the beauty is located in the message. But if the message is not properly delivered, then there is a problem. So your language must be beautiful. You can use concrete nouns. You can be descriptive. You describe. Let people visualize. Let people see exactly what the pictures you are trying to paint. It makes speech beautiful. Beautiful. If we do all these ones, I assure you, after we have done all these ones, I assure you that in the end, what we have is a beautiful, beautiful speech there. My viewers, I thank you for listening to me once again. Now, I want to enjoin you to subscribe to this channel. You can ring the notification bell. You can make your comments known. You can also share the video. I thank you once again. So until we meet next time, I say bye for now.